I do want to go over stuff in a little bit of chronological order. Okay, so this is from 2022. This is the first, the thing that I'm about to show you guys. This is from 2022. So this is the timeline. 2022, of August of 2022. Ex-girlfriend, Arden La Fey, ex-girlfriend of Poppy, posts this. Seeing people discover how horrible my ex is so validating. She abused me for over 3 years and I have PTSD from it. She should not be a licensed mental health professional. Just isolated me, publicly humiliated me, and made me think that I wasn't worth trusting or loving. Nothing I did was good enough. She convinced me that I had cheated on her when we weren't even together during that time and slut-shamed me. I have lost people who were very important to me. I lost photos, memories of friends and partners to her. She made me delete every photo of any man that I had. I was not allowed to have a lock on my phone, and all of my social media had to be accessible to her. At any point, I was to hand over my phone so she could make sure that I wasn't being unfaithful. That is very controlling. You know, it really lines up with the way that she treated her kid, too. Who is in this drama and who is she talking about? So Poppy and Zena are streamers from, like, the lefty side of Twitch poll, or they're kind of, like, in the same part of the internet as Vosh. They're super lefty. They run a Twitter account together. They stream together. They do everything together. They are joined at the fucking hip. It's kind of wild, honestly. So a lot of drama has come out about these two recently because there have been multiple abuse allegations basically against them, made by ex-partners and now by their child. I just don't know who Faye is. Arden La Fey is the ex-girlfriend of Poppy. So if you remember, Poppy, sorry, just one second. If you remember, Poppy was very controlling of their child, and Poppy and Zena were both very controlling of their child yesterday when we went over the document, and it was just like next level controlling. This person had homework and like work duties and like house duties, and anybody who calls like house meetings with their family is crazy. That's my opinion, my personal opinion. Anyways, so continuing this thread, because this very much falls in line with the pattern of behavior that we saw yesterday. So this person is saying, just isolated me, publicly humiliated me, and made me think that I wasn't worth trusting or loving. Nothing I did was good enough. She convinced me that I had cheated on her when we weren't even together during that time and slut-shamed me. I have lost people who were very important to me. I lost photos, memories of friends, and partners to her. She made me delete every photo of any man that I had. I was not allowed to have a lock on my phone. And all of my social media had to be accessible to her. At any point, I was to hand over my phone so she could make sure that I wasn't being unfaithful. And the definition of unfaithful was always changing. I wasn't allowed to have friends that she didn't approve of. I wasn't even allowed to talk to my family. That's tactics, by the way. This is very much tactics, not isolating somebody from their family. That's a tactic, 100%. Jessica Ruthier should not be working as a mental health professional. She may know how to come across as a nice person, but God's help those who are close to her. I was broken when she met me, and she just broke me further. The only reason I was able to get out was because I took the philosophy she spouted and ran with it. I grew as a person, and she didn't like that. She wanted to control me, keep me under her thumb, and I wasn't going to let that happen anymore. So she got rid of me. Oh, and she cheated on me before she dumped me. How ironic. That's true too. If somebody like accuses you of cheating, like usually that's a red flag. I mean, if there's no reason to accuse you of cheating. If you have a history of cheating and they accuse you of cheating, well, sorry, you did violate somebody's trust. So, girl boss your kid slave. Yeah, wild. I'm in a much better place now with partners who love me, but I'm still dealing with the she put me through. I've been with my current therapist for 2.5 years, and we're just now scratching the surface of the trauma I experienced with this woman. Do not trust her. Do not become intimate with her. She will isolate and humiliate you. I'm not perfect. I've done some up, but at least I haven't done what she did to me. So this is from 2022, okay? And this is the first like kind of rumblings of these two possibly being abusive. But nobody really took it seriously. It kind of, like, as you can see, 8 likes on it, 6 retweets. Nobody really took this seriously, which is unfortunate. It's like a warning sign from the past. Then let's skip forward to 2024. Skipping forward to 2024, Willow, or other as known as well as Dormiyu, visits Poppy. I'm not. I think Willow is a friend of theirs. So, ooh, this has been deleted. Okay. So, let me see if I can find a web archive of this, actually. But yeah, you can see that this was from 2022 and nobody took it seriously. There's no web archive of it. Let me just pull up the Tumblr, actually, where they're keeping track of everything. Just one moment, chat. One moment. Star guns today. Willow, Poppy, are all these people named after flowers and trees? I don't know. I don't know. Good question, though. Okay, call out thread by Dormiyu. Oh, it has been archived. Okay, so January 2nd. When was this posted? It doesn't say when it was posted. But here's the thread that Dormiyu made about Willow, not Willow, about Poppy. So Dormiyu goes by Willow as well, okay? And this is from January 2nd, 2024. I have a confession to make. I severely misjudged Poppy in my time spent being friends with her. I'm genuinely sorry to the people I let down by listening to her and her partner, and not them. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. I should have believed you all. January whatever date. I initially became friends with Poppy's partner, Zena, and had a fairly minimal interest in their channel. Zena and I became fast friends, and at one point admitted that they'd become very trusting of me and close to me, which was something that was reciprocated from myself. February. Zena encouraged me to engage more with their and Poppy's Discord server for their YouTube channel, and I ended up spending about an hour to 3 to 4 hours even, a few nights a week in VC in that server. I made good friends there, and people were all supportive and kind. March. Poppy in particular clashed heads with myself a few times in VC, but not in a manner I feel is noteworthy, as these misunderstandings were usually resolved within hours, if not minutes. I was invited to come and visit the two at their home between 10:27 and 11:02. Oh, these are not dates. I'm sorry, these are not dates. These are just numbers for threads. My apologies. Okay, so please disregard any dates that I said. This person is just, this was posted January 2nd. Okay. So, Poppy in particular clashed heads with myself a few times in VC, but not in a manner I feel is noteworthy, as these misunderstandings were usually resolved within hours, if not minutes. I was invited to come and visit the two at their home between October 27th and November 2nd. I was invited over since my partner was headed to a conference for their work for the week, and I didn't like the idea of being home alone. The visit was overall okay, but with a few things I'd like to touch on that soured the trip and planted the first seeds of doubt. Poppy maintained a habit of staying up until about 5 or 6 in the morning in the office, the room I was sleeping in. This meant my sleep schedule was the exact opposite of my partner's at the time, meaning that staying in touch was very difficult. Poppy's behavior is straight out of some unbelievably dark Russian novel. This issue was compounded by the fact that I needed to be out of the room by 11 a.m. so Poppy could attend appointments for clients. I was consistently running on about 5 hours of sleep for the whole week, and as a result, was overly emotional and had trouble keeping stable. This caused problems for my relationship with my partner, but the lack of sleep was nothing compared to the real reason I'm writing this thread. To make it clear, I was 18 at the time, and I'm only 19 now, and Poppy and I's dynamic was entirely platonic. And in the first few days, an incident occurred wherein Poppy had been getting changed, and I had been in the living room. Poppy emerged wearing a shirt, underwear, and no pants. I looked away as I would naturally. It was clear her intent was not to show off to me. It was clear Poppy was just going to get pants from the laundry hamper outside the bedroom, and I had no issue. I personally just chose to look away because I did not want to see her in any state of undress. Poppy noticed this, and her response was what upset me. Poppy chided me for averting my eyes and invoked my weird I am ace, but this had nothing to do with it. I would like to note that this should be solid, obvious context to why I'm about to disclose is numerous degrees of wrong. Later in the week, I was painting, sitting at Zena's desk in the office, and Poppy had just gotten out of the shower. She huddled out of the washroom and went straight to the bedroom with the door closed. She then emerged wearing nothing but a pair of knickers. She came into the office all but naked and sat down opposite me, but I barely noticed since I was so deeply engrossed in the painting that when I looked up to greet her, I only then noticed that she was topless in front of me, and I immediately looked away shocked. Who does this? I don't know. This is a little bit too comfortable. Like, don't get me wrong, I've had female friends who are very comfy, like, being in a state of undress around each other, but that's after, like, a lot of bonding. You know, a lot of bonding time. Poppy then, in an almost confused tone, said, "What? They're..." I did not consent to see Poppy in any degree of undress, and she knowingly flashed me while I was a guest in her home. Zena overheard from the kitchen and asked what had happened. Weird way to entice someone or trying to make someone uncomfortable. The ironic part about this is that in Zena and Poppy's stream addressing the claims made against them by their child, Poppy talks about how their child had a habit of flashing people just to make them uncomfortable. And this kind of reads to me that they learned it from Poppy. So they were so comfortable claiming Spawn flash people. I think that's, if that's true, if Spawn was provocative around people, it's a sign of something else being wrong, you know? Children often imitate the behavior of adults that they've seen. And if they've seen one of their, guardians doing this kind of stuff, being uncomfortable on purpose, or making people uncomfortable on purpose, why wouldn't they do it? I heard the child is actually like 25. They're like 23, but they were raised by Poppy. Spawn is 23, but they were raised by Poppy. There are Discord children, apparently, that they adopted, but yeah. You created a new word? Wait, which word did I create? Why? Is it a power trip to make someone uncomfortable like that? I don't know. I mean, I know that I will sometimes meme and troll to make people uncomfortable, but that's for humor. I would never do something like this. This is just inappropriate. So, yeah, Spawn is like 23, but was raised by Poppy since they were like 4. And apparently, according to Poppy's stream, where she and Zena are responding to the accusations against them made by Spawn, they talk about how Spawn used to wear underwear that was too small for her, and that she would like flash guests when they came over while wearing that underwear. It's got to be about breaking down boundaries. That's what it seems like to me, Lissy. I'm just saying, kids learn that. They learn that from somewhere. And, another thing that really stuck out to me is that Poppy talked about how Spawn always had issues with not listening to Poppy's partners and Poppy, like growing up. Yeah, why would a child listen to an adult they have no relationship to, right? So Poppy would have like partners coming over, and those partners would tell Spawn to do things, and Spawn would not listen, or would have a problem with it, or would have an attitude. Like, yeah, no, Sherlock, like your child built a relationship with you, not with your partners. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, given that they're talking about this like overtly behavior where they are trying to flash people to make them uncomfortable. Did they learn that only from Poppy, or did they learn that from one of the many partners that you have? You're supposed to keep children away from people. The access to your child is something that should be very, very protected. And there's the added element of how Poppy treated those partners. That's true as well. So let's go back to this. Poppy then, in an almost confused tone, said, "What? They're tits." And this person is 18 at the time, okay? This Willow person, or Dormiyu. I did not consent to see Poppy in any degree of undress, and she knowingly flashed me while I was a guest in her home. Zena overheard from the kitchen and asked what had happened. When the hilarious anecdote about Poppy exposing herself to me was relayed to Zena, they laughed it off. I was given the impression that the two, or at least Poppy during my visit, thought I was some kind of puritanical prude who would shriek at the sight of exposed ankles. Quite the contrary, I have no issue with folks showing skin in reasonable and non-suggestive manners. Whether that be short skirts and crop tops, or just wearing a sports bra instead of a shirt, I really do not mind, but this crossed a line for me that I had made clear. I'm only posting about this because of the recent events surrounding Poppy harassing her ex over a bad breakup and tagging her in posts calling her an abusive rapist. These allegations were false. I do not make that statement lightly. What Poppy described was not SA. So just so you guys know, Poppy accused one of her exes of... I also wanted to make this public despite my usual good sense to keep my off of social media because Poppy has felt it appropriate to subtweet about me prior to me writing this thread on multiple occasions. This person is psychotic. I would also like those who have believed Poppy in regards to her ex, supposedly her, to listen to me. Others out there have stories about Poppy too, and I simply want people to listen and to be more compassionate and less dogmatic. Finally, I want to make clear that I don't want to disclose more than this. I could talk about more, but this is where I'm drawing the line currently. I just felt this needed to be made public. Hi, Subgenius. Oh, and I have one final bit of detail to add. Poppy made some objectifying comments about my body I feel crossed a line, comments about my chest. Iffy gender feels aside, she made the comment from the angle of, I'm just jealous of your because dysphoria, but it was still making comments about my body. That felt so gross and wrong, and I wished I'd have said it on the spot. Instead, I felt guilt for the way my body was, and I gave her a hug. I feel guilty about the way my body was shaped. Or I felt guilty about the way my body was shaped. So that's from January of this year. Willow, I guess, is like somebody who used to be their friend. They visited Poppy, and they were like 18 at the time, and Poppy was inappropriately flashing this person. So next up is January 16th, Gayfesh, you know, very, very well-known person. Gayfesh makes a thread as well talking about Poppy and Zena. Why would you say I have more to say but I won't in a document like this? I don't know. So, this shows. Oh, wait, what? Okay, this is not working for some reason. Might be a back-end issue. I'm just gonna pull it up in a private window. Okay, so here it is. Gayfesh says, I wanted to just walk away and never speak about this publicly, but I already made the choice to get involved, and with new receipts, I can't shake the guilt off. I've already engaged, I can't have private regrets on public behavior. As Poppy would say, I made big boy decisions. What is this about, though? Okay. Well, anyways, there's this. A mutual of mine is being accused by her ex and is being painted as an who pushes boundaries constantly and by deception. Now, obviously, I take accusations of pretty seriously, and so I went to my mutual, and it turns out she is victim. So this was about Noe Flake. Noe Flake is somebody who had relations with Poppy and Zena, and sorry, just a second. And Poppy accused them of essentially, and it's super, you know, super. So here's the master post. Document 1. P and Z abusive hypocrites. Part 1, Melina. Doc 3, Spawn. We read this one. So, Rutro, wonder if it's a back-end issue with trying to archive X? Possibly. So Annie Gallagher is, so when basically Poppy accuses Noe Flake of by deception, because Poppy wanted a relationship with Noe Flake. Noe Flake did not want a relationship. And yeah, Noe Flake and Poppy, basically. If you look at the logs, apparently it's pretty evident that Poppy was the one who was pushing down. So this person, Annie Gallagher, who's also a problematic person, went to the defense of Poppy. Guardian Acorn. Blog of a trans lesbian feminist writer, activist, and gamer, Annie Gallagher. Regarding Zeeb Demon, Cassandra Mel, and my Discord server. Jesus Christ. But yeah, Annie Gallagher goes to the defense of Poppy. I don't see the actual link to the defense yet or anymore. So I think we should go. Basically, we've kind of come to 2024. We've seen Willow talking about being Flash. We've seen the ex-girlfriend from 2022 accusing Poppy of being abusive. And I think the next natural place to go would be the document Poppy and Marie. We can see this document, and we'll open this one as well. Okay, OMG, this is... Wading through all that to make sense of it is quite a dreadful task. Yeah, it's pretty rough.